Mitch puts on the table his new skinny stimulus package, claiming it's the motion of the ocean, but it doesn't rock anyone's boat. Hey, good evening, everybody. This is Evenings LALATE. Wow, what a day this has been. A lot of false news, a lot of fake news, a lot of good news, a lot of what the hell news, and a lot of, oh my God, I need a drink news. Thank you for joining me for Evenings LALATE. This is our 1-hour programming block that starts every night at 6:45 with a check, and then usually goes to EIDL. But tonight, another special report. Part 2, Nancy versus Steve, Lies and Deceptions. Will you get a check, and why have they not been forthcoming to you? Follow that report coming up after this video. You want to see why these parties are not getting your check out to you when we already know they agree upon the check. First, today, let me go over this video. I have a lot to capture for you, so I may talk a little fast. Let me get right to the details. I'm going to be covering the Republican skinny bill, the Pelosi skinny bill, the agreement upon the amount, the Republicans on the check, the Democrats on the check, then the real changes about FPUC even tonight, hazard pay, and finally eviction moratoriums. Let me see where we're going first. The Republican skinny bill. I have to explain this, and I got to explain it very clearly. When the HEALS Act was debuted by the Republicans no more than, 2.5 weeks ago, I remember that day because immediately viewers were jumping on the channel and saying, oh, they're not doing this. I heard you're not going to get this. I heard this is what's going to happen. We're not going to get this. I heard people apparently in some sort of news cycle out there hear reporting of Republicans' introductions of ideas and suddenly take that and say it's law. I'm going to make very clear to you what the status of the Republican skinny bill tonight is. First, it's not a bill. It's not even a napkin. It's not even a slice of Melbatos. It's literally a press release, which I guess was leaked to someone. People were going crazy today about news about a new law that we're not getting the check because I heard we're not getting the check. People were literally texting me and emailing me and saying, I heard we're not getting the check. Apparently it's the law. It was passed today. We're not getting a check. No, slow it down. Let's put our feet down. Let's relax. The Republicans, apparently how they run their press machine, which I got to congratulate on them on, it's very well run, is that they first leak to news that they're going to do something. We're going to do something. We're going to do a Republican skinny bill, and we're going to introduce it by this afternoon. Well, it's currently in Los Angeles now, 5 o'clock. It hasn't been introduced. It may be introduced after this recording. If it is, I'll update you accordingly. But as of 5 o'clock, it hasn't been introduced. Next. Even if it was introduced, it would literally be like this. It'd be on a piece of paper and it'd be a press release. It wouldn't be introduced as a bill. To be introduced as a bill, the House has to be, the Senate has to be in session. Now let's assume it is introduced as a bill. Let's assume that someone actually types something up among, Mitch's office where they generally use crayons. And they actually write it and they actually put it in as a bill. Okay, let's take it there. Then is it up for a vote? No. Is there anyone in session in the Senate? No. Is anyone going to vote on this piece of paper? No. Well, when would they vote on this piece of paper? Well, that's Fox News. Fox News tells you that apparently everyone's gone for 5 months, so there's no vote on anything for the Republican skinny bill. Now, even if there was a vote, in whenever, then, and it was, let's say it's actually passed in the Senate, guess where it goes next? It goes to the kingdom of doom. The Republican, it goes to the House of Representatives, dominated by the Democrats, which actually will turn it into Benihana's side dish for tonight. It'll be just chop, 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 and then throw it aside. It would literally go nowhere. So it's so nice that Mitch has a Republican skinny bill that he's talking about that's making everyone go back crazy today, but it's literally nothing yet. So I'm going to make this very clear. 2 days ago, I had to dispel the notions that no one's going to be working on second stimulus packages for till September, because Fox News apparently told that, and everyone bought that one. Now I have to dispel the notions that there's a Republican skinny bill that has now become a law, and it says that you're going to die tomorrow. So everyone, take it down a notch, please. Now, what is in the Republican skinny bill? I'm going to get to that in a second. Hogwash. The Pelosi skinny bill, number 2. There is no Pelosi skinny bill yet. There's talk about a Republican Pelosi skinny bill. It comes from a series of different legislators, including one from California, Democrat Representative Scott Peters, California, Don Bayer of Virginia, and Derek Kilmer of Washington wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi and shared it with CNBC. It's like, hi, boss, I can't stand you. Copy CNBC. They basically called on Nancy Pelosi to do a skinny bill. Okay, what's in the skinny bill? I don't know, and I would only care. It's a letter. It's a letter. I mean, you're making me choke over this. It's a letter. Until it's actually on the Senate floor, I really don't care. It's like those people that write me those emails about that EIDL grant. You know, we're getting our $10,000 EIDL grant. No, it's a bill. Is it up for vote? No. All right, so let me go then to the Republicans. The agreement on the amount. Well, this is the really good news. And you're like, where is the good news? The good news is an agreement on the amount, with the exception of 2 things, child support and the dependents. There's agreement you're going to get a $1,200 check, whether you're an adult or a minor. Whether you're an adult or a minor, you would get a $1,200 check. The issue is the issue of dependents. The Republicans don't want to give the dependents a $1,200 check. They want to give them a $500 check, which is, I don't know if they really want to hold to it. I've been reporting for 2 weeks that that's really not a deal breaker for them. I've never heard a Republican say, I absolutely have to go to the mat for $500 dependents. So basically everyone would get $1,200. How many in the household? That's seemingly unclear. I'll go over that in a second. And then the issue of child support, Republicans want to take out for child support. Democrats don't. All right, so easy so far, and here comes the difficult stuff. All right, so now the Republicans on the check and the Democrats on the check. Let me go over where they literally have changed by the hour on this. All right, so some of you think or have heard gossip, it's literally gossip, that the skinny bill from the Republicans won't have a stimulus check in there, and that maybe it's in a standalone bill. Okay, that's what we're hearing on a Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Let me go back just a few hours ago to tell you what it totally was, just a few hours ago. Mark Meadows on Sunday says you're going to get a full stimulus check. It's going to go out right away. We'll send it out this week. Chief of staff, the closest person to the president says you're going to get a stimulus check on Sunday. Mitch McConnell on Tuesday afternoon. You're not getting a stimulus check. Okay, let me go back before Sunday. On Friday, the president said you're going to get a stimulus check. In fact, he ordered Steve Mnuchin to send out the stimulus checks on last Friday. He ordered Steve Mnuchin, head of Treasury, to send out the stimulus checks on Friday. Let's go back a little bit further before that. Mnuchin, the week before, said he thinks you're going to get the stimulus checks right away. He thought that there was going to be agreement last Friday. He thought the stimulus checks were going to go right away. They would be in your bank account within 10 days of sending from the IRS, from Treasury. Yeah. Mitch, before that's about 2 weeks ago, he said that the stimulus checks have to go right out right away. This is too much long. This is taking too much time. All right, let's go back. Mitch a month ago said, no, not going to give you a stimulus check, not going to give you any stimulus package. Don't even come to me again. I'm going to lock my doors every time you come around asking for a stimulus check. That was a month ago, Mitch. Mitch today is different than Mitch yesterday as well. Mnuchin, 2 months ago on stimulus check, said he doesn't know if you should get a stimulus check. He doesn't want to discourage people going back to work. You see how these people literally cannot keep their mind, they can't keep their mind straight. They literally change by the minute. As you see, the last 2 statements before today was Mark Meadows, chief of staff to the president on Sunday, saying the stimulus check will go out this week. Nancy get back in town so we could do a standalone bill, so we sent out the stimulus check this week. And the Friday before this Sunday, 3 days ago, what is that? not just to Tuesday, not on Monday, not Sunday, not Saturday, but Friday, the president tweeted, send out the damn checks because the Democrats are holding up sending out my checks. That's what the president said. Today, the Republicans don't want to send out your checks, apparently. Of course, we haven't seen the bill. Maybe it's still being written on a napkin by Mitch. All right, let's turn to the Democrats on the check, who are just about as screwy as the Republicans. Pelosi's position, as we sit here today, is still $1,200. $1,200, family of 5, everyone will get a $1,200 check, $6,000. Okay, let's go back a little bit before that. Kamala Harris, vice presidential nominee, said we need multiple checks. She was among several Democrats, including Bernie Sanders, who introduced a bill that said, hey, one stimulus check is not enough. Let's do $2,000 checks for every month for 6 months until the pandemic improves or until unemployment rates go down. That was where we were before the HEROES Act was, turning it into Jaws personified, just eating up everything and making it some mega bill. And that got a lot of support. It got support of every single person on this channel. Let's go before that. Let's go back to May. In May, the Democrats said you were going to get stimulus checks for every single month that you're on lockdown. You were supposed to get a check from March, April, May. But they weren't going to do it then because they got busy and they were going to get to it later. These people can't get this. They just Imagine going out on a date with them. This is like they change by the second. Let me go to the restroom. I'll be right back. Let me change my mind. Okay, let's go to FPUC. So before I go to FPUC, let me make very clear. I'm going to repeat it again. Why do you repeat yourself? Because some people sometimes don't get it the first time. There is no skinny Republican bill that has been introduced to a vote before the Senate as we sit here on a Tuesday night. I don't want you to lose sleep, and I don't want that neighbor, sister's brother's friend who told you you're not going to get a stimulus check because he heard that there's not going to be a stimulus check in that Republican thing and they control everything. Just tell him to go have a Tootsie Roll. All right, so FPUC. FPUC is a hot mess express unto itself tonight. Viewers have been asking me, and I'm like, did you watch the video? It's our third video every afternoon on Afternoons at LALATE. The status is currently the following. And I'm going to go through how the Republicans and Democrats have changed on this one, too. It's just a lot of fun tonight. FPUC, $300, 3 weeks, 7 states. That's where we currently are. If you're in one of those 7 states, if you don't know what the 7 states are, you need to watch the video from this afternoon. You're eligible for 3 weeks of $300, aka $900. No other state's going to get it. That's for weeks of July forward, more to the present. Everyone else, sorry, it's being paid by FEMA. Everyone before July, you'll still get your $6 a week. All right, so let's see how everyone else changed on this one as well. The Republican skinny bill, which is, being drafted on a napkin as we sit here tonight, proposes $300 a week till December. All right, let's go back in time. President Trump last Friday said he couldn't send out your FPUC because the Democrats were blocking it. Let's go back further in time. 2 weekends ago, not last weekend, but the weekend before that, Trump issued an executive order saying he wanted $400 a week for FPUC. So it just seems like the Republicans keep on getting lower. It's 400, then it's 300. And let's go back, certainly 2 months ago, Mitch was at $200 for FPUC. And they go back 3 months ago, Mitch was at $0 for FPUC. Pelosi, there is no Pelosi skinny bill, so we don't know what the Pelosi skinny bill is. But Peters of California, Beyer of Virginia, and Derek Kilmer says we owe it to the people to get back to work across the country, not only to extend unemployment benefits, but to help them pay their bills, but to tie those benefits to economic conditions so workers are not held hostage by another cliff. This one. So they're asking in a letter, again, it's a letter, it's not a bill, for a skinny bill for $600 a week. aka the Pelosi skinny. Not a bill yet. Pelosi large is still $600 a week all the way to January. All right, hazard pay. What's going on with hazard pay? Skinny bill tonight does not appear to pay you hazard pay. Let's go back in time for hazard pay as well. Trump last Friday said he was going to give hazard pay if you were law enforcement, medical, teachers, and fire. Those are the ones he thought you're entitled to hazard pay. Let's go further back in time. The HEALS Act, no hazard pay. Let's go further back in time than that. Mitch McConnell said, no, I'm just not paying you anything for hazard pay. Now, let me show you also the flip side of the hazard pay. The flip side of hazard pay is we're not going to pay you hazard pay, and we want you to work in a hazardous environment, but you can't sue us. That's the Republicans' liability provision that has existed every single minute of every single hour of these negotiations. It is still in the Republican skinny bill tonight when it gets off the napkin. All right, hazard pay for the Democrats has been unchanged. It's still in there. It hasn't been removed. Eviction moratorium. Oh my God, this one I can't even believe I'm even saying. Every single bill, every single person, when they talk, said they're going to give you an eviction moratorium, whether it's the president, whether it's the Democrats, whether it's the Republicans. They also are going to give eviction moratorium. But to this day, what have you gotten it memorialized in an actual document? Let's go back in time. The skinny Republican bill apparently does not have it in there. Let's go further back in time. The Trump executive order 2 weeks ago proposed to put it in there. It doesn't have it in there. Let's go further back in time. The HEALS Act was introduced by Mitch McConnell. It didn't have it in there. Let's go further back in time. Then we had Mnuchin and Meadows appearing on nightly news, and Donald Trump, who actually also tweeted just 2 days ago as well, that you're going to get an eviction moratorium. It just seems like there's a consistent behavior with the Republicans on eviction moratoriums that they say they're going to give it to you, but when they actually write it up, it's just they forget to put it in every single time. I don't. That's coming up on our special after this. You're going to have fun on that special. All right, the Democrats. The eviction moratorium is in the HEROES Act. It would likely not be in the skinny bill. It should have its own skinny bill, but it's not. A lot of viewers, I have to give my moment of motivation tonight, and my moment of grasping the reality of the situation. I want you to understand that it is literally going this to that, this to that, this to that, like a bad Suzanne Summers infomercial with the Thigh Master. It's literally every single minute. It sounds like the whole universe is collapsing, and then the next day next 2 hours it sounds totally wonderful. And so a lot of people don't understand, why is it finally? Why is it not finally? Why is it this? Why is it that? There's an agreement upon the check. There's an agreement on the check. The problem is, for some reason, and that's the special coming up after this, they can't send out the check. What? They can agree upon the check. They agree upon everything about the check, with the exception of maybe child support and $500 for dependents, which is so nothing of an issue. They can get that fixed out. They can meet halfway. They can just give it extra money. It's not a deal breaker. But it doesn't get done. And people are just about to pull their hair out. And I got it. I want to be very sort of, how do I say this, frank to you about how I want you to start to brush it off. I want you to brush it off. And this is how I'm dealing with it as well. Do you remember last Saturday? I remember last Saturday. Remember my report at this same time last Saturday? It was running President Trump's statements from New York, and a lot of people said, well, maybe he talked that way because his brother had passed. Maybe he did. He said, you don't need stimulus. I think you can survive without stimulus. You'll be fine. Don't come back to me. It was a very series of troubling remarks that viewers their jaw dropped. That was late on a Saturday afternoon. By Sunday early morning, Mark Meadows was on. I mean, it was so early. It was almost 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Mark Meadows, his chief of staff to Donald Trump, was on Sunday morning news, says we're ready to send out the stimulus checks. It was like, wait a second, we just 6 hours ago were told we shouldn't even ask for stimulus by the president. And 6 hours later, Mark Meadows said we're getting it next week and it's ready to go out. Now, it's not Mark Meadows cleaning up the president's remarks or backing them up, whatever expression you want to use it. The president's doing it also. The president said those remarks on Saturday. Guess what he said on Friday, the day before? He says, I'm ordering Steve Mnuchin to send out your stimulus checks, but the Democrats are not allowing it to go out. incredibly great news. I was just like, hallelujah! You're going to do this. You're going to give stimulus checks by executive order. Said a lot of news reports. The president says he's going to give stimulus checks by executive order. President wants to send out the stimulus checks. President says the Democrats are to blame for these stimulus checks. Maybe so, maybe not. But president is on board to send you stimulus checks. The next day he says, I don't think you should have any stimulus. What? And so Steve Mnuchin, and so then Mark Meadows on Sunday says, yeah, stimulus checks are ready to go out. Let's send them out. Nancy, come and get an agreement for a skinny bill. Let's send it out. Great news. Incredibly great news. And then here we are Tuesday, and now news reports claim that the Mitch McConnell bill doesn't want to give you a stimulus check. This is the same party. So what's going on, and why is it happening? Without going through the entire detail of the special coming right up after this, which you have to watch, there is a break of disagreement in this group of the Republicans. And they've admitted it. Steve Mnuchin and McConnell have admitted there's a disagreement. But, someone has to get this done, because it's like enough already. If there's 10 people in a room and 2 disagree, just make it a vote, and the 8 say yes, then send out the stimulus checks. I mean, really, what's going on here? For now, I want you to understand you're going to get your stimulus checks. And that's these people, Republicans and Democrats, are really using your stimulus checks as literally just the anchor to every darn game they want to play. Yeah, they're playing games with your stimulus checks by anchoring it and tying it up to something else, so that every time you're ready for your stimulus check come out, it's, oh, there's a DeJoy scandal. Oh, there's the bailout of the states. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's that. And it's like, do you not think we see you doing that? Do the Republicans and the Democrats not see that we see them doing that? Children are going hungry in America, says Nancy. Children are going hungry in America. And then Mark Meadows says, they all left town. Mark, you were on vacation for a week. Do they not know what we know where they are? Just coming up after this, you have to watch it. Our special, go to the Funniest channel, hit that subscribe button. We're about to pass 200,000 subscribers. I want to personally thank all of you for joining on the incredible journey of this channel. We started no less than 4 months ago. We started on April 25th. We're coming up on the 25th of this month, which will be May, June, July, August. Be 4 months. No channel in the history of YouTube has ever reached 200,000 subscribers in 4 months. It's because of you and me and our commitment to helping one another, to keeping people inspired, to keeping people focused and informed and knowing things better. I mean, just a few days ago, it seems like an ages ago, I was helping people understand that FPUC is $600 a week and that was not called PUA. Now I'm teaching you that LWA is called $300 a week. And now tonight I'm trying to inform you and educate you that if someone tells you there's a bill out there that has now taken away your stimulus check, to just press delete on whatever you see that said that. It's just not true. And I love that you're becoming educated. I love that you're fact-checking your friends and understanding what things are. You understand that things have to pass by the House and the Senate, and the president has to sign it. That it could be done in 3 days. You understand that members of Congress are not in session but can come back to session. You understand that Nancy has ordered them back in town for Sunday, but the Senate is still not in town, but they're still around, that they haven't just disappeared off the planet. I love how empowered everyone is becoming, because ultimately ignorance is what makes a person very frustrated, because they just don't understand what's going on. I try to make things simple for you and enjoyable, and together we'll get through it. I see your frustrations, but you're going to get through it, and you will get a check. As always, stay informed, stay motivated, stay inspired. Go to the Funniest channel, hit that subscribe and alert button. If you're having problems following the channel, go into the pinned comment and hit it there. And coming up next, an evening LALATE special. As always, stay informed, stay educated, and stay available for more.